I would love to pull a lot of these celebrities' black card. You should not be allowed to be associated with our ethnic background if that's how you're going to display yourself, right?
But okay, again, you have to have leaders who are going to operate like that. We rarely see grown men checking other grown men for their piss poor behavior. We rarely see grown women checking other grown women of the same community for their piss poor behavior. So until that is acceptable again, and I think that comes from community. So until we have that same kind of community again, I just don't think we're going to be able to get to the point where that you're referencing.
But we have to, in order to do that, we have to devalue the money. Because we value money so much that if you are doing something that is piss poor, but you're finding a way to make it beneficial, which is really because whoever is the higher ups are going to make sure that you are that representation and continue to fund it.
So how do you do that?
We have to be able to, the start would be able to say, you know what? I don't care if you're getting a bag.
No. How do you devalue the money?
Yeah.
Well,
that would go back to having a community.
It goes back to having the public voices not justify bad behavior because of the monetary success that it has. I cannot go on here and say, yo, you know what? BMF is one of the greatest of all time. No, you killed millions in our community, or you have affected millions in our community. A woman can't go up here and say, yo, you know what? Dancing like Sexy Red and Glorilla and talking about popping your pussy is acceptable.
Glorilla and Sexy Red is not the same, just FYI.
I'm just saying, because I've heard Glorilla say it too, right?
She does, but she ain't.
I'm not
talking about her booty hole brown.
But my thing is this.
Ain't no Sexy Red.
But my thing is this. None of it is tolerated on any level, right? Sexy Red is probably the umph. She might be a 10 and Glorilla might be a 6 or a 7. But none of it should be tolerated. None of it should be endorsed by us, right? And if we don't endorse it, then, and it starts from here, then it allows us to actually progress. You mentioned something in a group chat the other day saying how, you wish, or not that, this is not verbatim, please correct me, that you wish that men and women of our color and our native backgrounds did not see sports as the only option, right?
Rapping.
Sports and rapping as the only option, right? Which, obviously, if you play football, you already know the odds are of you, or any sport, the odds of you actually making this successful is very slim, but yet you dedicate your whole life to this, and then you don't do anything to benefit, your intellect or your education, right? So when we all say these different things, this is where it has to start. The start is here, and we have enough impact for people to say, yo, you know what? All right, let me make sure the children that I have now, I'm going to start telling them, hey, listen, you are 6'5". You don't need to resort to basketball. You know what I'm saying? But it might be beneficial.
That's what I was like, wait a minute.
But again, we can't look at...
It's also...
But
maybe tennis, or pitcher.
Right.
But so this is a perfect example. Like, 6'5", you probably have a bit more athletic prowess than the average person. Right. So I think it's okay to expose your kid to these other things. But if they also show that they're good at like art, or they can do like back of the napkin math very easily, or they have like some savant type memory. Like, I mean, put them in math camp and like basketball camp or something. But like they have to see something else. And that's why I always say, like, it's very hard to be something if you don't see it, and I know a lot of people are against like organizations like Jack and Jill because, it's for the bourgeoisie, blah, blah, blah. But I'm telling you, these organizations are not all bourgeoisie kids. And a lot of times you're able to see people and meet people and their parents who do things you never knew existed. And so I remember I was like in 4th grade, my classmate, his dad was like, and literally just maybe until a year or two ago, was the CEO of Texas Children's Hospital in Houston. So pretty much all my life. And I remember being at their house. I didn't even realize how rich they were. But I remember being at their house, and somebody was talking about a thoracic surgeon. And so I don't know if I went and looked it up in an encyclopedia or did something. I was like, you know what? Shit, that's what I want to be. I ain't even like science like that, but I wanted to be a thoracic surgeon. And I think that if you're a kid and you just keep saying that, and then you dive into it at some point and you get some type of exposure, you might just end up being a thoracic surgeon. If not, maybe a general surgeon, a plastic surgeon, anything. But until you're exposed to it, you have no idea that it's even possible.
Right.
You literally have no idea.
I think that's part of the problem is in a lot of communities, they don't necessarily have access to these resources. And that's part of why you're thinking your only way out is either through music or sports, because those are things that everyone can see. You can watch the Super Bowl, you can watch a basketball, you can listen to rap music, right? But you may not have in your school, they're not teaching you entrepreneurship.
Or a science center.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like your community, and that's part of the problem. You have to see it.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be something tangible for you to be like, you were exposed to that. It was very close to you. So you're like, this is something I can do.
I saw something with LaVar Ball the other day, and he played professional football, right? And he, I don't know, maybe practice squad, something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Practice squad.
He said, how'd you feel after, you were out? He's like, I didn't care. He said, I had all that money. And he said, I knew I had a jump start on life and that was good enough for me.
But that's one of the things that I think, and I don't know the reason.
But Sexy Red can do, I'm just saying, she could be like.
She could be like a Black China, Angela White. Yeah, it's so hard. It's like if I was, and I hate to say this, let's just say I was a thief my entire life. And I made millions stealing. And I said, you know what, guys?
You was more than a thief if you making millions.
Yeah. and them heist movies. And I said, you know what, guys? I'm done with doing heists. I want to do things the right way. Everybody's going to be like, nah, you've already burnt your integrity. Like, we always think that we can regain our integrity after we've publicly destroyed it.
I think in America you can.
Yeah, there's
so many redemption stories.
Yeah.
Like, I think in America you can.
They love a good redemption story.
Nah, redemption is different than something like doing something one time when you were younger or a couple times when you were younger, but then you made that your career.
Yeah.
And it is different. The experience, I will say, from dating different ethnic backgrounds, when I date, in comparison to when I date an American Black woman, is the American Black woman is like, if this was a chicken and the egg thing, they have to come first. They're like, what can you do for me? Versus all the other ethnic backgrounds is, what can I do for you as the Black man? Right? So and in return, we shower her with whatever it is that we have. So it's like, if I have a Spanish woman and I'm like, the first time I meet her or whatever, and it's not in Colombia, it's not in DR, it's in America, right?
Okay.
And the way she's going to treat you is going to be different from the very, very, very beginning. Okay. Right? It's like, I might have to earn her trust, but I have to earn her trust with her body. With a Black American woman, I have to earn her trust in an entirely different way. Right? And it's like, I'm coming to you guilty before innocent.
Right. Listen, so here's the thing. I'm not disagreeing with you in terms of cultural, like, it's going to have an impact, right? Because even if you take Caribbean, African, whatever, yes, women are taught a little bit different. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand that, yes, like I was taught to having to take out my husband's plate, take care of him, clean, do this, do that. I understand that men enjoy that. What I'm saying to people like him and everything like that, right? There's a cultural reason for that. You can't be mad at Black women and just discount them and say, I'm not even rocking with you guys because you don't do that. Like you just said, what are you going to do for me? How about what are we going to do for each other? Let me teach you how to love me. Let me teach you how to treat me and teach me how to treat you. You don't have to discount an entire race because culturally it's different. It's not the same, and that's okay.
Is this for the men that are saying they don't date black women, and for these
you know
men?
what it is? Ultimately, Rome.
Did he include like African and?
No. Yeah, he dates Africans. He dates Caribbean. He dates different.
So he was talking about American.
He specifically has
women.
issues with like black African American women.
Okay.
And like, I'm so tired of hearing it.
But
like, I'm
Marie,
tired of hearing that.
You gotta understand that.
Like, be part of the solution. Shut the hell up. Or be part of the solution. I am tired of hearing black men degrade black women. Like, okay, I understand you want to be treated a certain way. So rather than sitting there and like putting your foot on somebody's neck, like, you know what? This is my experience, but I want to be with a black woman, right? Let me meet somebody who's my counterpart. You don't have to meet somebody who's not your counterpart. Like, men will date the worst women and then be like, all black women are the worst. Like, what do you mean?
I don't think that happens.
Maybe you just pick bad.
Right. Like,
but there's more.
Take accountability for the women you're picking.
What we're trying to say is that there's more bad than there are good.
What?
Right?
Like,
so look, that's what I'm saying it. He said it. So it's like this. If I have the odds of a 60-40 split, I'd rather not gamble. Right? It's more, it's harder to find something that's going to be in my favor than it is that isn't, even if it's close.
But I don't think that's what she's saying. I think what she's saying is that if your desire is to be with somebody else, go beat your feet, do what you want to do. But there's there's no reason for you to down black. Like, you don't ever hear, like, you rarely hear anybody be like, man, I love white women, or like a white guy, I love black women. Man, I can't stand these white hoes. They always not taking baths and they got greasy hair and they always acting crazy, asking for the manager in the store.
Right.
They just let them be. And then they just go and deal with the black woman that they want to deal with. You don't ever hear them like down their own. Mexican people too. Mexican men, if they love a white woman, they're not downing Mexican women. They just go and they get them their white queen and go and eat tamales with mayonnaise if they want to. You know what I'm saying? They just don't. I'm just saying it appears, because I don't want to say all, and I don't want to say it's an absolute, but it really does appear that it is black American men who consistently and very loudly and proudly and in front of everybody, they have to like put down black American women in order to show love or in order to like show love to the woman that they picked. Why do you have to?
You don't.
It's not about that. It's very simple. We're gonna go right back to. I'm gonna take a page out of Aaron's book and say we're bringing shame back. Okay, I'm going to publicly, because I don't like the fact that we are having this situation within our community. So I'm going to publicly tell, because it's not just the ones that I'm sitting next to, it's the ones that are even out there that I want to be able to reach out to and tell them, when I say we, I'm speaking on his behalf, we don't like this, right? Now, it's not about, and I'm going to say again, there's a lot more what it appears to be that are, there's a lot more bad ones than there are good ones in comparison to the other ethnic backgrounds.
That's nonsense. Let me explain to you. Like, here's the thing I don't understand, right? We talk about this need for community. We talk about this need for village, right? I'll give you a perfect example, right? And we'll use the Nation of Islam. Like when they stepped on the scene, what did they do? What were the black African-American women doing? They made sure that they took the women in. They taught the women how to treat the men in leadership position in the Nation of Islam, right? They took the African-American women and said, we don't want you working for the white man. We don't want you doing this. Let me structure you. Let me teach you. Let me lead you. And let me show you how to be treated. In turn, what did the women do? They did it. They followed the lead. Why? Because you had strong black men with resources that came and gave you a 360. and shows you what you needed. So what I am saying to Black men, if you don't like the way women are being treated or are doing, then step up. People can learn. No, because people can learn.
No, they can't.
I just gave you an example of this happened. It happened widespread.
Even if we take that example and I look at the Black women as a whole at that point in time frame, you're saying that there was a small percentage that were coachable, moldable, and able to learn.
And they're not coachable anymore.
No, I'm saying that that's a small percentage of the rest.
No, but what she's saying is she's giving you...
I'm giving you an example that it's possible.
No, we're not talking about anything is fucking possible, right? Possibilities are endless. What we're talking about is the reality. The reality is when it comes down to it, the symptom of a cause is that there is uncoachable, and I feel like there's uncoachable African American descendant women for at least 3 generations, which is what we were talking about prior to. And the symptom of that, again, is the lack of being able to follow. What I realize is there's a struggle for equality in the very beginning of a American Black man and American Black woman relationship versus the other ethnic backgrounds are not even looking for equality. They just will get equality with their behavior. And when I have to explain to you what my worth is, or when I have to demonstrate what my worth is, endless, it's like our culture, I'm saying our in terms of the African American culture, our culture the men have to constantly prove and be battle tested throughout the entirety of the relationship. It's not just the beginning.
I don't think it's fair to compare the African American experience to in terms of the diaspora and everything else. You can't compare it. It's so it's like the way you're rating these things is unfair
because their parents aren't even the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect example. If you're a first generation American and both of your parents are foreign, you're like American in name only.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You are culturally still whatever it is, wherever your parents are from. So maybe you need 2 more generations like down the line to call yourself American. And the ironic thing is that you hear about a lot of like the passport bros, they talk about when the foreign women become Americanized,
right,
that they don't like them anymore either. So I really don't think that it's I don't think it's like a black, it's not like a Black American, white American, whatever. It's truly American culture. Because if you've grown up in a society for the last X amount of years where women actually have been fighting to have access to equal rights, then why would you not have that in you to be seeking equal rights on your job, at school, in your relationship, so on and so forth. And like my Nigerian friends, like I still have friends who literally they're Nigerian when like if I'm not in Nigeria with them, they literally bow to their uncles when they see them. Literally, the first time I saw it, I said, what was you doing over there? She was like, child, that's what we have to do. And I'm like, I had never seen it before, and because I want to say I never even seen them, the same people do it in America. It's only when we were over there. So I think that you have to look at how long that person or that person's family has been in American culture. Because I just don't think it's like a race thing at all.
Right.